So you've hit week 26. This is a huge turning point in your pregnancy. Your baby is making some really incredible leaps in development, and I'm sure you're feeling some big changes too. So today, we're going to take a closer look and explore exactly what's happening, both inside and out.
Wow, just look at this. This isn't just some cool picture, right? It's a real window into a whole world that's developing right now. Your baby, they can hear you, they can feel things, and they're literally building the foundation of the person they're going to be. So how is all this happening? Let's get into it. Okay, so first things first, let's talk about the star of the show, your baby. Because this week, it's a big one for them. We're talking major developments in their brain, their hormone system, and believe it or not, we're even starting to see the very first hints of their own unique personality.
Okay, so the brain. This is a huge milestone. Think about it. For the last 12 weeks, these little nerve cells have been on a massive journey, kind of like a migration from the very center of the brain all the way to the surface. And guess what? That journey is finally complete. So now their new job, their new mission is to start making connections, tons and tons of them. We call them synapses. And these connections are what will wire the brain for literally everything, from breathing to thinking to dreaming.
And all of this super delicate work is happening inside this amazing protective little bubble. It's kind of funny to think about, but right now, the surface of your baby's brain is actually smooth. You know those wrinkles we all associate with a brain? Well, those haven't formed yet. They'll start to appear over the next few weeks as the cortex matures. And of course, everything is safely cushioned by fluid and the baby's developing skull. All right, let's switch gears a bit and talk about the hormonal system. I want you to meet the adrenal glands. They're these two tiny little glands that sit right on top of the kidneys. But don't let their size fool you. They are absolute powerhouses. They've got two parts. The inside part, that's the medulla, and it makes adrenaline. You know, the whole fight or flight thing. But it's the outer layer, the cortex, that's really the MVP right now. It's working super hard producing all these steroid hormones that are basically coordinating your baby's growth. Now get ready for this, because this is a pretty wild fact. If you compare them to the baby's body size, their adrenal glands are a whopping 20 times larger than an adult's. No, that's not a typo. It's because that outer cortex we just talked about is just working overtime, pumping out all those crucial hormones for development. It's pretty amazing. And don't worry, they'll shrink down really quickly after birth. So you might be wondering, with all this crazy brain wiring and all this hormonal activity going on, are we starting to see a personality emerge? And the answer is absolutely. For sure. Your baby can hear your heartbeat. They're starting to recognize your voice. They can feel the vibrations when you play music. They're already practicing for life on the outside, swallowing, making little breathing movements, and yeah, maybe even sucking their thumb for a bit of comfort. Okay, so we've talked a lot about the baby. Now let's turn the spotlight over to you, because this whole journey involves some pretty incredible changes for you too, both physically and emotionally. Have you started feeling a new kind of ache or pain, maybe right up under your ribs? Well, if you have, here's what's going on. As your baby gets bigger, your uterus expands upward and it starts to put pressure on your diaphragm and actually push your rib cage out. This can feel, well, pretty uncomfortable. And you might notice it even more if you have a smaller frame or if your baby is in a breech position with their head tucked right up under there. So the big question is, what can you actually do about it? Well, the number one thing is movement. Sitting for long periods, especially if you have a desk job, can definitely make it worse. So the best advice is to get up and walk around as often as you can. Adjust your chair, grab a cushion for support, and try doing some really gentle side stretches. That can help create just a little bit more space in there. And along with all the physical stuff, there's the mental side of things, right? Let's talk about dreams. Have you been having some really vivid ones lately? Maybe even some that are a little unsettling? I want you to know that is completely 100% normal. What's happening is your brain is basically running through different scenarios, almost like a simulation. It's its way of processing all the natural worries and excitement that come with becoming a parent. It might feel a little strange, but it's actually a really healthy part of the whole process. Okay, so with all these changes swirling around, now is actually a perfect time to channel some of that energy into getting ready, some practical preparations. Trust me, getting things in order can feel incredibly calming and put you back in the driver's seat. Let's talk baby shopping. It is so easy to get totally overwhelmed, right? The key thing to remember is the difference between needs and wants. What does your baby actually need? Well, they need a safe place to sleep, like a crib with a new mattress. They need milk, whether that's breast milk or formula. They need diapers, some basic onesies for warmth, and of course, a car seat. That's pretty much it for the must-haves. All the other stuff, a fancy changing station, a bottle warmer, those are definitely wants, not needs, and they can wait. Okay, here's another great tip to help you prepare. Take a hospital tour. And look, this is about way more than just seeing the rooms. It's about taking the mystery out of the whole experience. Just knowing simple things like where to park, what the admissions process is like, just getting a feel for the place. It can make a huge difference in reducing anxiety for both you and your partner. So when you go on that tour, don't just wander around. Go prepared. Make a list of questions. Ask them about their policies on birth plans. Find out what pain relief options they have. Ask if you can see an actual delivery room. What about breastfeeding support? Seriously, don't be shy. This is your experience. The more information you have, the more confident and in control you're going to feel when the big day comes. All right, to wrap things up, let's do a quick fire round of some of the most common questions that pop up right around this time. We've got the questions and we've got the expert answers. First question, I think I might have a vaginal infection. Is this going to harm my baby? Yeah, this is a super common worry. You feel even a little bit of discomfort, and of course, your mind immediately jumps to, is the baby okay? Okay, so take a deep breath. The good news is, it is very unlikely to harm your baby. Here's why. Your cervix is sealed tight by something called a mucus plug, which is basically an amazing natural barrier that keeps infections out. That said, it's definitely not comfortable for you. So the main takeaway here is go see your doctor and get it treated. Okay, next question, and this is another one that can cause a lot of anxiety. I've noticed some lumps in my breasts. Should I be worried? So, here's the deal. It's true that lumps can be a totally normal part of your breasts getting ready for breastfeeding. But, and this is a really important but, the number one rule is you should never ignore them, ever. For your own peace of mind, always get any new lumps checked out by your doctor. All right, last question. This one is a bit more practical and it's about staying active. So, I'm getting pretty big now. Do I need to adapt my swimming style? We know swimming is great during pregnancy, but does your growing belly change the game? Yep, the short answer is you probably will. The most important thing here is just to listen to your body. A lot of women find that as they get into the third trimester, breaststroke just feels more comfortable. And hey, don't forget, even if you don't feel like doing laps, just floating and relaxing in the water is amazing. It takes all that pressure off your back and your belly. It's a huge help. You know, when you think about it, this week is all about connections, isn't it? Those tiny synapses firing in your baby's brain, the hormones kicking in, and you getting ready to connect with this whole new person. As they're busy in there becoming who they're meant to be, we'll just leave you with this one thought to ponder. What are you most excited to learn about them?